Hi, good evening everybody and welcome to the final Blue Beyond virtual pub quiz. I say it's the final one because if I organise another one, I think my team might kill me. But thank you so much for joining. We've got a fantastic event lined up this evening. We've got over 25 different members of parliament popping in various different ways to visit you. We're also here, of course, to raise money for an absolutely fantastic charity that really means something to one of the individuals who's hosting the quiz this evening. So just a little bit of housekeeping before we get started. My name is Luke and I am the founder and director of an organisation called Blue Beyond. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to engage young people who live outside of London, expand access and opportunities for those who don't live in London to politics and the youth wing of the Conservative Party. It's quite a special event for us because this is exactly 1 year since we started. In the last year, we have grown, we've organised several events, and we have a membership of nearly and supporters base of nearly 3,000 people. So it's been a fantastic year for us. Throughout the evening, we're going to be raising money for this fantastic charity. As you'll see in the corner of the screen, there is a little beer mug. We'd like to fill that mug this evening, and the way that you can do that is by donating. If you just go onto the YouTube link, there's a donation link, and you please do donate money. All we're asking is £1 per person, and we're going to try and fill that mug this evening. All proceeds will be going to charity. So far, we've had 2 of the previous quizzes and we've raised £3,000 to date. So let's see if we can add to that fantastic number already. The results of the pub quiz will be published on Sunday. And that's kind of it you're going to be hearing from me this evening because we've got a fantastic, very special guest who's going to be the MC for the evening. It's so good they named it twice. Rob Roberts MP is the Member of Parliament for Delyn, which is the North Welsh constituency. He is the first Conservative MP for the seat since 1992 and managed to snatch it from the Labour Party by a majority of 865 votes. Before he was a Member of Parliament, Rob had an extensive career in finance and wealth management, working at a wealth management firm as an award-winning financial planner before going on and setting up his own business. Since coming into Parliament, he has joined the Procedures Committee, and outside of work, he is the proud father of one, Emily Roberts. So anyway, that's enough from me. I'm going to pass on over to him now. Please do enjoy the evening, and please do donate to this fantastic charity. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. Appreciate that lovely introduction. I didn't pay Luke to say any of those nice things. How lovely. Look, it's lovely to see everyone here this evening and supporting this thing. Most important thing to say right at the start is that we're raising money for this amazing charity. It's the National Brain Appeal. They are funding advances in neurology and neurosurgery, without which one of our presenters this evening, the wonderful Guy Opperman, wouldn't be here today. Guy had a brain tumour back in 2011, actually collapsed in the chamber during a debate. But we've got a little bit of a video that shows a little bit more about Guy's story and the wonderful work that this charity does.
I collapsed in the House of Commons. The debate was the budget debate, and I often say that the budget nearly killed me. But I collapsed in the House of Commons, was taken to hospital, and I was diagnosed with a brain tumour. That was about the size of a woman's fist, and it was back here in the back left side of my brain. I went through a number of different hospitals, but ultimately I came here to the National Neurological.
Okay, so amazing video there about Guy's story, and obviously the wonderful work that they did to get him back recovered and back on the straight and narrow. And it's a wonderful cause that we're trying to raise money for. So as Luke said earlier on, every little donation counts, and we'll be hearing a little bit more from Guy later on in the evening. During the course of this evening, we've got 4 rounds, 10 questions each, and we've got a few people who will drop in from time to time, as is normal with the Blue Beyond quizzes. So the first 2 of those are coming up now. We're just going to go and have a few words from a previous cabinet member and a current cabinet member who just want to drop in and give their greetings.
Hello, this is a message for the young Conservatives brought together by Blue Beyond. Just to thank you for your support for our wonderful party. I joined the Conservative Party my second year at university because I believe then, as I believe now, that there's only one party in British politics capable of taking the tough, difficult decisions in the long-term interests of the country. That's what we did in 2010 when we had to deal.
Hi folks, well done for everybody involved in Blue Beyond. I know it's your first birthday or first anniversary and you've got the great idea of doing an online quiz. So I hope you've got your pens and your paper ready. I can't join you tonight, but I always know that quizzes bring out the best and the worst in people, but I'm sure it'll be great fun. Well done to Rob for getting me to do this video, but well done to everybody involved. The kind of social glue that's bringing you together is amazing, and when we get going again, I'm sure that you will have made many friends, and that will come to the fore when we're out hitting the streets again, taking our great Conservative message to the people of this nation. So stay safe, but enjoy the quiz.
One.
Okay, so thanks to Jeremy and Therese for those lovely words. A little bit of trivia is that Therese Coffey runs the best karaoke parties in Parliament, which we can attest to, and we'll hear from Catherine Fletcher later on about how good Therese's karaoke parties are. But we'll run straight into round one. And round one is going to be run by a wonderful guy, Andy Carter, who is the MP for Warrington South. Before getting into politics, Andy ran a radio broadcast company up in Manchester until 2014 when it was bought out by Global. And he then had a consulting firm. Was selected as the candidate for Warrington South in March of 2019 and took the seat back from Labour in December with a wonderful, cracking majority of 2010. So I will hand over to the lovely Andy Carter.
Rob, thank you very much indeed. Good evening from Cheshire, and I hope you're having a wonderful VE Day celebration wherever you are in the UK today. And it's a real treat to be part of the Blue Beyond event this evening, raising funds for a really, really important appeal, the National Brain Appeal. And it's something that touches so many people in so many different ways. And I can say in a personal way that for me, the National Brain Appeal is something that really means something, because my dad passed away from a brain tumour just over 4 years ago, and this is one of the charities that I've been able to personally give to as well. So please tonight, do give. It really will make a difference. Okay, our first round is called Pop Politics, and we're starting off with question one. In what year did the Labour election anthem "Things Can Only Get Better" spend 4 weeks at number one? In what year did the Labour election anthem "Things Can Only Get Better" spend 4 weeks at number one? Question two. Which former Coronation Street actor had a top 5 hit called "I Breathe Again" before nearly becoming a Conservative MP? That's which former Coronation Street actor had a top 5 hit called "I Breathe Again" before nearly becoming a Conservative MP? Question three. The bands Big Country and Runrig have a political connection, but who or what is it? That's the bands Big Country and Runrig have a political connection, but who or what is it? Question four. What instrument does the Conservative MP Greg Hands play in the parliamentary pop band MP4? Question four is, what instrument does the Conservative MP Greg Hands play in the parliamentary pop band MP4? And question five. Which 51-second song reached number 2 in the UK charts in April 2013, but didn't get played on the Radio 1 chart show? Question 5. Which 51-second song reached number 2 in the UK charts in April 2013, but didn't get played on the Radio 1 chart show? So we're halfway through round one, and we're raising funds tonight for the National Brain Appeal. And thank you so much to Amelia Palmer, who has given £20. If you want to donate tonight, it's really easy. All the details are on the screen, and every single penny that you give us will go direct to the charity, the National Brain Appeal. Let's move on round one. It's called Pop Politics, and question 6 is the next one for us. It's heading over to this one, 1992. Who had a music campaign message, "Don't Stop," in 1992? Who had a music campaign message, "Don't Stop," in 1992? Question 7. Which British band were talking about Reaganomics in the official UK chart in 1985? That's question 7. Which British band were talking about Reaganomics in the official UK charts in 1985? Question 8. Who was the first British Prime Minister to conduct the London Symphony Orchestra? If you're a classical music fan, that one is right up your street. Who was the first British Prime Minister to conduct the London Symphony Orchestra? Question 9. The Beatles were first included in the New Year's Honours list back in 1965 when they were given MBEs. But who was the first rock star to be knighted? That's question 9. The Beatles were first included in the New Year's Honours back in 1965 when they were given MBEs. But who was the first rock star to be knighted? And our final question on our first round, Pop Politics. Which Conservative peer includes on his mantelpiece 4 Grammys and a Golden Globe? And I can tell you, I've seen them. They are on his mantelpiece, along with a lot of other things as well. Which Conservative peer includes on his mantelpiece 4 Grammys and a Golden Globe? And they are our first 10 questions on the Blue Beyond quiz tonight. How many have you got right? We'll find out at the end of our 4 rounds. And I'm going to hand back to Rob Roberts, the legend, Rob Roberts.
Not sure about legend. Andy, thank you so much. That was wonderful. A really good mix of really easy and crazy difficult in there, I have to admit. I'm getting texts through. So for the other presenters, you need to be aware of my texts. Alicia Kearns, MP for Rutland and Melton. I won't say exactly the words that she used. Tell Andy to let's say it says, "Please slow down." That's what it says. It doesn't say that, but that's what it means. So I'm sure the presenters that are coming up will slow the pace a little bit, because poor Alicia, she's just been, she's on the Foreign Affairs Committee, so one would hope that you'd be able to think fast and get these done. But it's okay. Let's make allowances for her and slow the pace down a little bit. She's lovely. We wouldn't want to upset Alicia. She's got higher security clearance than me, so she could probably have bad things done if we don't do what she says. Wonderful stuff. Thanks, Andy. That was a really good music round. Enjoyed that. We've got a couple more messages coming up now, staying on the theme of former and current cabinet members. So let's see who we've got messages from this time.
Happy first birthday to Blue Beyond. The lovely Rob Roberts from Delin has asked me to record a short video for you, congratulating you on reaching out across the country to get more young people to support the Conservative ideals and values. And I gather you're having an online quiz to raise some money for charity. Congratulations, brilliant work, keep it up, and good luck to all of you.
Hi everyone at Blue Beyond. I'm a massive fan of your organisation. Well done on your first year anniversary, particularly to Luke Black and all the team that founded your great organisation. Now, as a Leeds girl myself, I'm a great believer that we've got Uber riding, delivery eating freedom fighters right across our country, And what we need to do is get more of them on board with the Conservative Party. And your quiz and all the work you do are a really important part of that. I know you're also free trade fanatics, and we're looking forward to getting on with some of those fantastic trade deals that are going to benefit every part of our great country. But tonight, good luck to all of you, particularly Quiz Trust, and I hope you have a great evening.
One.
Okay, some lovely messages. So Liz, I just wanted to point out, Liz Truss, what a pro. I asked her to do this video, and I gave her no information, right? She went and did all of her own research. She already knew Blue Beyond and about everything, and somehow she knew that there was a quiz team with her name called Quiz Truss. She did all of her own research. All credit to her. She's an absolute pro. Right, round number 2 is in the hands of another new MP, Christian Wakeford. Christian studied politics at Lancaster Uni and then chemistry with the Open University on top, just for a bit of variation. Christian has been a local borough councillor, sits on Lancashire County Council, winning his Bury South seat. I almost said Bury North, that wouldn't go down very well. Bury South seat from Labour with a massive 6.3% swing in December. Ladies and gentlemen, the wonderful Christian Wakeford.
Cheers, Rob. Again, pleasure to be here. I've been part of the Backbench Quizness Committee for the last 2 quizzes. Unfortunately, we came 2nd and 3rd, so we realised we'd give up on a losing streak and take control this time so that we can't lose. I just want to point out, we've already raised a massive amount already, but please do carry on donating. We're nearly £500, but it is a very important cause, for which I'm sure you'll hear a bit more from Guy later. I'm also under very, very strict instructions from Alicia Kearns to slow the F down. Please, Alicia, I'll try. There will be one question in particular, which hopefully Team Delightful will be looking forward to, but we'll see on the other side. So here we go. Question number 1. Which member recently made history by making the first virtual maiden speech? Actually, that might be one way to slow the entire quiz down, by having a drink every time between a question. More than happy to go down that approach. Question 2. Deanna Davison referred to a wise old man in her maiden speech, but who was that wise old man? And no, it was not Rob Roberts MP. Sorry, Rob. Okay. How many members of the new intake are yet to make their maiden speech? So question 3. How many members of the new intake are yet to make their maiden speech? Question 4. Just had a message for repeat question, please. I'll hope that's question 3, which is how many members of the new intake are yet to make their maiden speech? Question 4. Which Disney movie did Boris Johnson make reference to in his maiden speech? Okay, and question 5, whose maiden speech was to move a successful private member's bill with no mention of herself, her predecessor, or her seat? Right, I've just had a message through from Jonathan Goulis MP. Mate, get a trim. Cheers. That is certainly the intention, and I'll give myself a shameless plug that I am actually shaving my bonds for charity. next week. So if anyone is feeling extremely generous, not only tonight, but next week, they want to see what weird shaped head I've got underneath this bouffant, please do feel generous. And there is certainly a link on my own Twitter page. So to mix things up slightly, because this is a round on maiden speeches, the final 5 questions are maiden speeches in regards to the quiz hosts. So question number 6, on which debate did Andy Carter make his maiden speech? Okay, and question 7, which part of Manchester did Catherine Fletcher say she came from during her maiden speech? I know, I'm seeing your face, Catherine. Okay, question 8. Which term did Guy Oberman refer the problem of social and affordable housing as in his maiden speech? And unfortunately, I'm out of wine now, so I'll go straight on to question 9. Which fellow member did Rob Roberts describe as potentially revolting in his maiden speech? Yep, good luck with that one, Rob. I'm sure everyone will look forward to seeing that answer. And finally, question 10. Which music festival did I refer to in my maiden speech? So read that one again. Which music festival did I refer to in my maiden speech? And normally I would hand over to my glamorous assistant. However, in this case, I will hand back over to Rob.
Hey, I'm all right with being your glamorous assistant, Christian. That's all good. Thank you very much. The most entertaining part about that was that no one else can see what's going on, but I have all of the other people who are presenting on my screen. And when he asked the question about Guy's maiden speech, the look of puzzlement and confusion on Guy's face that he didn't know the answer to his own question was very entertaining. So I enjoyed that very much. So that was my favourite round. I love that. Maiden speeches are such a special moment for any MP. It's the most amazing experience to hear the speaker call your name in that place for the first time. Wonderful. So we're halfway through. So we've just got a short video coming up from a guy. He's just got a really big heart, right? This guy is he really cares very, very deeply for people. I'm very, very proud to call him not only a colleague of mine, but also a very good friend. So we will see this video, and then we will crack on straight away with round 3.
Thank you, Rob, and best wishes to everyone taking part in the Blue Beyond quiz. I think it's a fantastic initiative, even though, of course, it has to be done in a socially distanced way in these troubled times. I'm really pleased to see so many Conservatives coming together to have a great time on a Friday night, do the quiz, make sure that you get those answers right, and have a wonderful evening.
And there we are, the wonderful Matt Hancock. As I say, one of the nicest guys you could wish to meet, and a hugger. If anyone wants a little bit of Hancock trivia, Hancock is a hugger. Doesn't do shaking hands, does hugs. Loves hugging. There you go. A little bit of Hancock trivia. So the update currently is that we are almost at £600 for our charity raise so far, which is wonderful. Do keep giving. Do keep donating. Every little single pound counts. So if we can carry on with that, that would be great. So we're on to round 3. And round 3 is in the hands of our senior MP on duty, the fabulous Guy Opperman. And Guy has just celebrated his 10th anniversary as an MP. He was elected as the member for Hexham in Northumberland 10 years and 2 days ago. Guy has been a barrister, predominantly in criminal trials, so has seen previously some of the worst of society, and now is helping to make some of the best of society. Before getting elected, he stood previously in Swindon and the wonderful North Wales town of Carnarvon, before the good people of Hexham welcomed him in, third time lucky, with a majority of 5,788, which a few months ago has grown to 10,500. So they clearly think that he's doing an amazing job. And he is, ladies and gentlemen, the irrepressible Guy Opperman.
So, thank you, Rob. Welcome. It is fantastic to be here. I hope you like my backdrop. My Zoom backdrop has been specially prepared. I thank Matthew from my team. As you can see, Alfie, my cat, is inviting you all to donate. And it has obviously I've got the Northumberland flag, I've got Northumberland behind me. And this is a cause that, as the team made clear earlier on, really matters to me because without a shadow of a doubt, my life was saved when I had a meningioma requiring 2 pretty crazy operations at the Queen Square Hospital. They did an operation where they go inside your femoral artery and run up a soldering iron pretty much up into the base of your brain, seal off the tumor, and then finish that. And then they open your head up here for me, take out a small chainsaw, open the head, and apologies if you're having burgers tonight, but you're in a position that they then take out a smaller chainsaw and cut out the tumor. And because they'd sealed off the base effectively with a medical soldering iron, it didn't bleed out. And so I'm a very lucky man. And I've raised money for Queen Square, for the National Brain Appeal for the last 9 years. And bear in mind, this affects all of us. As the point was fairly made by Andy earlier on, and brain tumours are well over 15 to 20 a day, are precedent in the United Kingdom, and it really, really matters. So please donate. This matters, and this is for research and to support the #1 brain tumour hospital in the country. So I've got 2 types of questions tonight. My first 7 questions are all what is called before they were famous. All of the answers to the first 7 questions relate to Tory MPs, present or past. And we start off with a very, very good-looking man. It's all true that many of the female members of this race fancy this man. And he stripped off, question 1. So who stripped off in February 2015 to film a Dove shower commercial to raise money for the general election campaign in 2015? So question 1, who stripped off in February 2015 to film a Dove shower commercial to raise money for their general election campaign in 2015? Hilariously, I should point out, it took 3 days to film a 30-second video, but there we go. Question 2, who as a young man worked for his parents as a delivery driver's mate, drinking beer at stop-offs in Yorkshire? Who as a young man worked for his parents as a delivery driver's mate, drinking beer at stop-offs in Yorkshire? Question 3, which MP appeared in a past life on Top of the Pops as part of the great Rick Astley's band? So Rick Astley appeared on Top of the Pops. Which MP appeared in his band? So if you haven't donated, please donate. Obviously, we're trying to persuade you to visit Northumberland after lockdown is over. But also, Alfie the cat will shortly come up and will invite you to donate now. And I've donated £100 this evening. I'm not expecting you to do that, but I've left a message on the Just Giving page. Obviously, when you do your donation, make sure you tick for gift aid, because that adds a whole bunch more on as well. So we're at question 4. If you don't get this, I'm not sure you genuinely are a Conservative who knows your onions, but here we go. Who worked as part of the team that helped invent soft scoop ice cream? Who worked as part of the team that helped invent soft scoop ice cream? Question 5. Name the Conservative Chancellor from the last 100 years who left school at 16 and never went to university. Question 5. Name the Conservative Chancellor from the last 100 years who left school at 16 and never went to university. So you'll see Alfie on the screen. He's saying, oh, we've gone the wrong way. We're mirrored. Donate now. It's really important. Get involved. Donate now. I like it when he disappears because he disappears at speed when you see him go. So we're at question 6. Name the current Conservative MP, so it's a Conservative MP at the moment, and government whip who has a first-class cricket average and is recognised in Wisden. So there are, I can tell you because I've been a government whip, there are 15 government whips. Who is the current Conservative MP and government whip who has a first-class cricket average and is recognised in Wisden? If you say Mark Spencer, I will genuinely piss myself laughing. So hang on a second. I'm just going to take a call. No, Boris, I can't talk right now. I'm in the middle of the Blue Beyond quiz. It's really important. If you want to get involved, it's not too late to join. I know Luke would help, but basically get involved. Yes, obviously your donation would matter as well, but have a word with Matt on that. All right, thanks very much. Speak to you later. Sorry, that was the Prime Minister. We were a little busy. Obviously, full respect to him for calling in. That was kind. So we're at question 7. And which former Member of Parliament and minor won a parliamentary by-election in Derbyshire with a majority of only 100? Former Member of Parliament and a former minor who won a Derbyshire by-election with a majority of 100. So those questions, all of those are before they were famous. All of them relate to Tory MPs past or present. I've then got 3 what I've called miscellaneous questions. Question 8, I'll be impressed if you get this. When did Admiral Nelson live in number 10 Downing Street? When did Admiral Nelson live in number 10 Downing Street? And to help you, I'm looking for a year. When did Admiral Nelson live in number 10 Downing Street? Question 9. This is one for you Winston Churchill fans. So Winston Churchill, as we all know, represented many different constituencies. Which of these 4 constituencies is the odd one out? And the 4 constituencies are Oldham, Dundee, Woodford, and Epping. I'll repeat them again. Winston Churchill, the great man, the greatest ever Prime Minister, represented many different constituencies. Which of these 4 is the odd one out? Oldham, Dundee, Woodford, and Epping. The answer is obviously one of those 4. Pick one. It's a multiple choice. And finally, and if you haven't donated and Alfie the cat hasn't encouraged you to donate, and Boris ringing you up to donate and asking how he donates hasn't encouraged you to donate, please do. Please get involved. And please support Blue Beyond as well. So the last question is, which leader built a very famous wall, largely using foreigners? And the answer is not Donald Trump. Which leader built a very famous wall, largely using foreigners? And of course, the answer is not Donald Trump. So those are my 10. The first 7, just for you, those of you who are going back over them, in relation to Tory MPs past or present. And I'm going to hand back to Rob and say thanks very much for playing.
Well, who knew that a call from the boss would come in halfway through Guy's round? That was what a surprise. We were all stunned, shocked. Amazing. I'm sure Wilf was on the call as well. It was very nice. Well, amazing questions from Guy. Thank you so much. I have to admit that even when I saw the answers, I still couldn't quite believe that some of our MP colleagues had been up to some of those things. So look, we've just got one round to go. The money is still going up. I'm seeing donations are still coming in. So please keep doing that. That's fantastic. And we only have one round to go. Now, we've been quite easy on you so far. This final round will sort out the winners for sure, because it's hard. Even when I had the answers, I looked at the answers and I'm like, okay, I still don't know what the question even means. But it'll be good. It's fine. But before we get to that, we've got another couple of big names who wanted to check in with some birthday greetings. What I don't think has been mentioned earlier on is that earlier on this week was actually Blue Beyond's first anniversary, its first birthday. And a couple of people that I bumped into in the corridor in Parliament last week wanted to give their greetings and say hello. So here they come.
Thank you, Rob, and hello to everyone at Blue Beyond. Now, it's a very challenging time for all of us, but that hasn't stopped you from putting together your fantastic quiz. Well done, Luke, Sophie, and Hannon in particular. And also, I want to congratulate you on your first anniversary, particularly Luke, for putting this together. Over 2,000 members right across the country, especially outside of London. Well done. Have a great evening.
Happy birthday to Blue Beyond. You've had an amazing first year, raising money for charity, getting your membership up to 2,000 and spreading the message to a new generation of Conservative voters. I wish you all the very best of luck for the future. Thank you for all the hard work and the dedication that you're putting in to the Conservative cause. And can I also just send a shout out to Hanan Sawa, who's been under the weather. I hope you get better soon. Good luck.
There we go. Saj and Dominic, I'm pleased to report after Dom's comments there that Hanan is on the mend. He was in hospital earlier on this week and he's doing really well. He's back out and we were chatting earlier and he's in good shape. So that's good news. Right, we've got one round to go. I'll give a quick shout out to the MPs team, which is taking part tonight. The MPs, they've got the 6 of them with a combined IQ of at least 150. We've got Gary Sambrook, who is the MP for Birmingham Northfield. He's their team captain, which is leading them in a very able way. Alicia Kearns from Rutland and Melton. Jonathan Gullis from Stoke-on-Trent North. Gareth Davis of Grantham and Stamford. Nicola Richards from West Bromwich East. And Scott Benton from Blackpool South are taking part this evening. They've got a lot to live up to because last time we were in the quiz and we finished, second and third. So, no pressure, you guys, but you've got a lot to live up to. As we move into the final round from one of my favourite people in Parliament, I've got to say, the fabulous Catherine Fletcher is a scientist. She studied biology at Nottingham before most of you were even born. I think, to be honest with you. Don't look like that. I can see your face. She's also a qualified safari ranger. There you go. Has worked in South Africa and Mozambique. She held her seat of South Ribble when Seema Kennedy retired in 2019, increasing Seema's majority, however, from 7,500 to well over 11,000. The wonderful, ladies and gentlemen, Catherine Fletcher.
Mr. Roberts, you do me too much of a kindness on several levels. Now, quizzes, before we get started, this evening is about having a bit of fun in lockdown, but it's also about supporting a really serious cause. So I lost a really much loved uncle to a brain tumour as a 14-year-old, and it's something that has really stuck with me. And I often will think, what if the research was there that could have made a difference to his life back in the 90s? So if you have the opportunity, a donation would be so welcome to the most amazing hospital that has helped save Guy's life, and let's look forward to it saving others, and not necessarily people like me having to have those experiences. So much love to my Auntie Jill. And let's get down to some quality quizzing. Now, do you think you know your politics? Do you think you know the North? This is the perfect combination for you. Mr. Roberts is a Welshman, has just complete, it's not hard. You just, the clues are in the questions. So if we get to question 1, which government minister signed off the investment to create the successful Manchester Metrolink tram and saved the Settle to Carlisle railway line from closure? You've got 4 options here. Give it a bit easier. Was it A, Michael Meacher? Was it B, Michael Portillo? Was it C, Andrew Adonis? Or was it D, John Prescott? So which government minister signed off the creation of the Manchester Met and saved the Settle to Carlisle railway line from closure? Michael Meacher, Michael Portillo, Andrew Adonis, or John Prescott? Okay. True or false for number 2? Sheffield's City Council leader once said, Manchester and Sheffield are really the same city with a great big beautiful park in the middle. Now, is that A, true, or B, false? Did Sheffield's City Council leader once say Manchester and Sheffield are really the same city with a great big park in the middle? Right, question number 3. Give you a moment to sip your drink, muse about the munificence of the park between Manchester and Sheffield. Question number 3. Which politician was nicknamed the Minister for Liverpool? Who was given the sobriquet the Minister for Liverpool? Was it A, Derek Hatton, Degsy? Was it B, John Prescott? Was it C, Michael Heseltine? Or was it D, Liverpool's own Edwina Curry? So who was nicknamed, given the sobriquet, the Minister of Liverpool? A, Derek Hatton, B, John Prescott, C, Michael Heseltine, or D, Edwina Curry? Okay. Moving on to question 4, testing my pronunciation skills. I would like to apologise for anyone that speaks fluent Japanese, because the only thing guaranteed is I'm going to get this wrong. In what year, question 4, did Margaret Thatcher personally telephone and get on lobby Nissan president Katsuji Kawamata to secure the building of the Nissan car plant in Sunderland? In what year did Margaret Thatcher personally lobby the Nissan president Katsuji Kawamata to secure the building of the Nissan car plant, the wonderful Nissan car plant in the fine Vale of Sunderland? Was it A, 1978? Was it B, 1980? Was it C, 1984? Or was it D, 1991? A, 1978, B, 1980, C, 1984, or D, 1991? Okay. Question 5, halfway through. Is this, as Rob predicted, sorting the wheat from the chaff? We shall see. Number 5. According to BuzzFeed in 2014, which one of the following is not a reason why Lancashire is better than Yorkshire? Okay. Oh, we all know that Lancashire is better than Yorkshire, she says, ducking the bullets. But why? Which one of these is wrong and is not one of the reasons? So first, A, in 1863, we had the first fish and chip shop in the north of England. I'll read them back again. B, we invented Vimto. C, we were the first to split the atom, Rutherford, in 1908. Or D, we invented the cat's eye. So which one of these is not a reason why Lancashire is better than Yorkshire? I quite like just reading this question over and over. It's quite cheering me up. Is it because A, we had the first fish and chip shop in the north of England? B, we invented Vimto. Who thinks hot Vimto isn't the best thing ever on a winter's night? Don't know. C, we were the first to split the atom with Rutherford and his team, or D, we invented the cat's eye? Which one of those four is wrong? Oh, hang on. No, like if I go for my newsreader pose, breaking news, folks. I believe we've got somebody that wants to come in into this middle round. Over to you, Wizzy.
Congratulations to Blue Beyond for reaching its first anniversary and for achieving 2,000 members. This is a real achievement, and it's so important that we have active young Conservatives. You really are the lifeblood of the party, our future, our destiny. Thank you for all you're doing. Good luck with the quiz. I've never been any good at quizzes, but I hope you'll do better than I would. I hope you have a splendid evening, and I'm only sorry not to be with you in person. Thank you.
And we're joined by the leader of the House. If we're going to pause for anyone, it is Jacob Rees-Mogg himself. Now, how are we getting on with the quiz questions, ladies and gentlemen? We're up to number 6, the last 5 for this quiz. So you may be able to tell that I'm quite proud of being a Northerner. I think Christian's even referenced it in one of his questions. Some may even say professional at it. Let's press over that. But for lots of the north of England, going to Blackpool was the first time they ever saw the sea or a beach. You know, they worked in urban environments. So when the government introduced legislation in the 1870s to create bank holidays and Wakes Weeks, where the whole town would go somewhere, Blackpool became a tour de force for tourism, and that heritage is still wonderful today. Mr. Benton, you're going to be in trouble if you don't get this question right with your team, I would imagine. So wonderful Scott, who's the Blackpool South MP. Hello, Scott. The question: the famous illuminations now help Blackpool to make the second most visited place in the UK outside of London. The wiring on the illuminations stretches for 200 miles, but how many designs in lights are there? So how many designs in lights do you get for 200 miles of lighting on the Blackpool illuminations, which I remember being taken to as a kid? It's very exciting. Is it A, 50 designs? Is it B, 100 designs? Is it C, 200 designs? Or is it D, more than 500 designs? A, 50 designs, B, 100 designs, C, 200 designs, or D, more than 500 designs in 200 miles of wiring? One to ponder there. If you've not seen them, you need to get up there, go and see them yourself. The beer's great, the fish and chips are awesome. There you go. Scott, you can post me the tenner. Right, question 7. In what year did the government autumn statement announce the setup of the Sir Henry Royce Institute for Materials Research and Innovation, which is a joint endeavour between Sheffield and Manchester universities? So to help us translate our brilliant ideas in the north of England into practical industry. So in what year did the government's autumn statement announce the setup of the Sir Henry Royce Institute for Materials Research and Innovation? Is it A, 2014? Is it B, 2010? Is it C, 2011? Or is it D, 2015? This is one for your real Northern powerhouse nerds amongst you. I'm sure you all know it instantaneously. So is it A, set up announced in 2014, B, 2010, C, 2011, or D, 2015? Good luck. Right, 3 questions left. This one is for the students, the historical students among you. So the British Board of Trade, bracket the DTI, announced the UK's first wind power target in 1995 of 3,500 megawatt per hour, which ended up with the first operational wind farm, Waverable 2, from the lovely Delin. It's the North Hoyle between Wales and Liverpool. But who was the Secretary of State for Trade and Industry between 92 and 95 that put the first UK wind power target in? Was it A, Peter Lilly? I'm going to avoid titles here. Was it A, Peter Lilly? Was it B, Michael Heseltine? Was it C, Ian Bruce Lang? Or was it D, Nicholas Ridley? So who changed the Department of Trade and Industry back to its old title of the British Board of Trade and introduced a wind power target in 1995? Was it A, Peter Lilly, B, Michael Heseltine, C, Ian Bruce Lang, or D, Nicholas Ridley? Ooh, that one will sort the women from the lasses, won't it? Okay, question 9. With 4,700 miles of dry stone wall, the Yorkshire Dales is a mecca for tourism as well as farming. But how many dales are in the Dales? It's beautiful. If you haven't been, you need to go. But how many dales are in the Yorkshire Dales? Is it A, 28, B, 40, C, 250, or D, 12? How many dales in the Yorkshire Dales? 28, A, B, 40, C, 250, or D, 12? It's a tough one. Right. Thanks all for joining us. We've got one more question just to wrap it up. But before we do that, I want to give you a little fact. The Tan Hill Inn on the border of the North York Moors and up towards Cumberland is the Britain's highest pub at 1,732 feet. So if you want a high pint, go to the Tan Hill Inn. Last one, Sellafield in Cumbria. The Calder Hall reactor was first connected to the grid and officially opened by the Queen on 1956. It was the world's first nuclear power station to generate electricity on an industrial scale. But when did it stop? So Calder Hall opened by the Queen in 1956, but when did it stop operating in Sellafield in Cumbria? Is it A, 1983? Is it B, 1993? Is it C, 2003? Or is it D, 2013? So when did Calder Hall stop after a lifetime of power generation? 1983, 1993, 2003, or 2013? Right, good luck. And if you need a signpost in the north of England, I'm sure we're all here to help.
Yeah, I wasn't mute. I was muted. I'm sorry. Catherine, amazing. Thank you so much. And thanks to Jacob for dropping in as well. That was kind of unexpected. His 9-year-old son, I think, was doing the recording, so the video might have been a little bit bobby up and down, but brilliant work. So, look, the quiz is done. Take a few minutes, confirm your answers, talk amongst yourselves, and hit the submit button at the bottom of your Google Forms. While you're doing that, I've just lined up. There's 2 more videos of people who wanted to drop in and say hello. Some people might say that I may have saved the best to last. I couldn't possibly comment. Anyway, here come the final 2 videos of our guests for tonight.
Thank you, Rob, and I just want to say congratulations to everybody at Blue Beyond for doing the quiz, for making the quiz such a great success. And Luke and the team, to Sophie and to Hannon, well done in such a short period of time in getting this quiz up and running and getting it out electronically, digitally, at this really challenging and difficult time. This is a really important time for our country, but also for our politics. It's also an important moment for us to keep on getting that Conservative message out and about to young people across the country, to remind people why our values and beliefs matter so much more. So enjoy the quiz, have a great evening, and thank you for everything that you're doing.
Hi everyone, hope you don't mind me dropping in to say a quick congratulations on the 1st year anniversary of Blue Beyond. Led by Luke, Sophie and Hannon, you do a great job getting the Conservative message out to all corners of our country, as well as raising thousands of pounds for charity with all your events. Keep up the good work. I know a pub quiz isn't quite the same without the pub, but we'll get there soon enough. Have fun.
is here. Yeah, he's wearing shorts. We might get him to stand up and show his legs off. Anything's possible. James Cleverly is here, and Esther McVeigh is shortly dropping in. So in 5 minutes we will be back for our Q&A. But as for now, get those quiz papers submitted, and we'll see who the brains are among you. See you in 5.
Right, done. Break now. Oh, done. Yeah, everyone can speak now. We just double check. Yeah, everyone can speak. Yeah.
Okay, so we're back, and we've got all of the MPs who hosted the various rounds earlier on, and our wonderful extra guests who have arrived. I'll just talk you through a little bit about the people who have checked in with us. Captain Mercer, Captain Johnny Mercer is with us, MP for Plymouth Moorview since 2015. Currently Minister for Defence, People and Veterans. Big Army fan. We have James Daly, MP for Bury North since December. Represents the most marginal seat in the entire UK, with a majority of 105 in a wonderful gain from Labour. Continuing with, we're going up the military ranks with Lieutenant Colonel James Cleverly, not to put Mercer in the shade, MP for Braintree in Essex since 2015, and a party chairman through our wonderfully successful 2019 campaign, and now a minister in the Foreign Office. And if we're going to keep going up through the ranks, we'll have to go with Commander-in-Chief Esther McVeigh, who is the MP for Tatton since 2017. She was MP for Wirral West from 2010 to 15. Been a businesswoman, been a TV presenter, no end to this woman's talents, and was Secretary of State for Work and Pensions in 2018. So a really wide range of experiences and stories. So we'll launch straight into the first question, and we'll go around everyone. This is quite a topical one, and we'll start with Captain Mercer. What special things have you been doing? And the same question will come to all of you. What special things have you been doing to mark VE Day today, please? Start with Johnny.
Here we go. So today was going to be quite a busy day for us in the Office of Veterans Affairs. Obviously, it all got cancelled. So this morning I was up early, 6 o'clock, and I was down. We've got a cenotaph down in Plymouth, and I just laid a wreath on behalf of the UK government down here. Ben Wallace, Secretary of State, did it in London. And then the rest of the day's events you'll have seen were kind of remote, so the aircraft and all the rest of it. And yeah, pretty busy day. And then, just had tea and a few beers tonight, so not too bad all in all.
Excellent, busy day. Mr. Daly up in Bury, what have you been up to? I love your background, by the way.
The panorama of Bury. We asked for people from the constituency to send in photographs and stories about their family members who served during the Second World War. So we've been putting those stories out today on Facebook and on the website, and it's been a really good response. So we've been thinking and talking about Bury people who served during the war.
Fabulous. Commander-in-Chief McVeigh, what have you been doing on your VE Day today?
Well, I zoomed in to a lady's 100th birthday. She was celebrating, and she was talking about how she had celebrated in Liverpool on sort of VE Day 75 years ago, and she was just reminiscing all her wonderful stories. So I thought that was just a really lovely way to spend the day.
That is lovely. I quite agree. Yeah. Mr. Cleverly, you're up.
I had what I thought was a really simple idea, which turned into a really complicated idea. So I have bought myself not only my Union Jack flag here, so when I'm on these international calls, the various people I'm talking to around the world can see I'm the British representative. But I also bought a massive Union Jack, which I was going to put outside the front of my house. You suddenly realise the logistics of actually getting a big flag onto a makeshift flagpole. So I spent much more of the day than I had intended bodging a flagpole, which is currently wonky and very precarious outside my house in London. But I also reposted some of the content that the FCO had produced, particularly with regard to, that DFID had produced, particularly with regard to looking after our Commonwealth veterans around the world. I was very proud of the work we do on that. So a little bit of handyman and a little bit of digital.
There we go. So for everyone who wondered what it's like to be an MP, making a makeshift flag and bunching it together, we're all living the dream.
Can I ask James a question?
What? Go on.
James, do you always have to have that flag up so everyone can see? They're like, who's that guy? And then they're like, oh, he's the foreign minister.
I got To be honest with you, Johnny, I was getting a bit of flag envy. I was on one of these big multinational calls, and I had it on the screen, and I had it set up so you could see about 16 different people all at once, and every single one of them had a flag, and I literally.
And you let the UK down.
Big time, I felt naked, and I thought that is never ever happening again. Never happening again. So I got onto eBay.
I really didn't want an image cleverly naked.
So the first flag, I didn't check the dimensions properly, and I clicked purchase, and I've now got a 6 foot by 8 foot flag outside the front of my house by accident. It was a bit bigger than I was anticipating, but there you go. So I've now got 2 Union Jack flags in the Cleverly household.
Yeah, I should have known it would all deteriorate when Mercer got on the call, taking over things. Stop that. All right, so let's start this next one with James again, as he was recently the party chairman. Interesting question. Do you think it's possible for the party to keep and improve on the seats that we won in the North and the Midlands, and win back our lost seats in London and the South? What's the key to us growing the North and getting the South back again?
Yeah, thank you. So on the morning of the election results, we were getting congratulations, people congratulating the CCHQ team, the Prime Minister. And one of the things that I said to the CCHQ team on that Friday morning was that I don't believe this has to be a high watermark. I absolutely believe that the Conservative Party can and should aspire to keep the seats that we won in the north of England, and build on those, because there were a number of seats where we got close and missed it by a little bit. And I think that once we demonstrate to the people that have put their trust in us for the first time that we will deliver for them, I think more people in what used to be Labour heartlands will vote Conservative. But I think also if we can show people in London and the south of England that we can provide good government for these new first-time Conservative voters without screwing them over, I think a number of them will come back to us as well, particularly once Brexit has kind of flushed itself through the system, because that was a big issue in London. So I do not think this is a high watermark at all, and I think we should absolutely look to defend every seat that we won and go after some more next time round.
Fabulous. I quite agree. And everyone who's on the screen should probably be aware that on the live stream that's currently on YouTube, you're all on the screen at the same time. So it's not just when it's on you. So, Catherine Fletcher, when you're there giving it all this, we can all see you.
Rob, I am aware of that, but that doesn't mean I don't agree wholeheartedly with what Lieutenant Colonel's just said. So it's either the Boris thumbs up or the salute.
So Guy Opperman wants to answer this one as a Northern MP. Crack on, Guy.
Yes. So I would make 2 points. The first is I think my flag's better than James's. Obviously, revere the Union Jack, obviously, but we took great efforts to create a backdrop with the Northumberland flag, and I am the Member of Parliament for Hexham, but I'm also the Foreign Minister for Northumberland, and there may be, if you want lessons on God's own country and the fact that there is a wall behind me keeping out some people that, you can come to me at any time. So the serious point on the election is when I was selected in 2008 in Hexham, there was one Tory MP in the Northeast out of 29. We're now up to 10. There are still 19 in my area, and plenty of them from Hartlepool to North Durham can be won. And I'm absolutely certain we can win those. My tip would be more candidates. So we want people, whether they are Blue Beyond or people tuning in, to sign up to be a candidate. We're just short on pipeline, and we're short of northern candidates who are willing to fight seats on a long-term basis. I fought with James when he was in the by-election or the previous election. We've seen the difference that certain people have made in northern seats, we need candidates. The second is CCHQ commit long term to these areas and have the right people on the ground and spend a bit of cash.
Fabulous. Esther, I'm sure will want to weigh in on this one as a good Northern lass.
Yeah, I think the first thing we've got to do is make sure we keep true to true Tory values. We can't become a Labour light. Because you think you've won Labour seats, does that mean we've got to be a Labour light, a Blairite or a Miliband? That would be absolutely the wrong path to go down. We know why we absolutely thrashed Labour. Yes, it was Brexit, but it was all the things that people, patriotic, why are they proud to be British, whether that was, the military, whether that was sort of the defence, whether that was the royal family. It was also, we are the party of aspiration, of social mobility, of self-empowerment. We have to stand by all our promises of education, of having a career, of safety, and just things that enable people to power forward. So I think we've got to stay true to that. Remain the party of aspiration and self-empowerment. And one further thing, as we look to the future, we have to now ensure that every part of the country has the IT and digital infrastructure that you will need in a global economy. And our party now has to put the money in that, so we don't have digital poverty, so we don't have a new north and south by a digital divide, and we don't have a postcode lottery on technology. And that is how we make sure Labour stays out of power, and also by proving that Keir Starmer is still a metropolitan elite who wouldn't know a working class person if he fell over them, and also he is light on crime and sentencing, and we have to be true to all of those things that we stood on and would all those seats by, and that is how we get more seats and remain the party. And once you're in power, you've got to do positive things with that power.
Fabulous. Absolutely. We'll get an interesting perspective on how to win and keep Northern seats, I guess, from James Daly, who's got, as I said earlier on, the most marginal in the UK, a majority of 105, which is a brilliant result up in Bury North. So what's it going to keep? What's it going to take, James, to keep hold of Bury North, and how can we win the rest of the region as well?
Well, I think you start off from the point of view that for the last 50 years, the north of England has been dominated by incompetent Labour councils who've done their very best to bankrupt local finances. And people can see this. People can see year after year after year of incompetence, of no hope, of no aspiration, no vision for their communities, not selling anything whatsoever. The Conservative Party are a force for good. We come in, we have a vision which was sold, which obviously as a government we are delivering at this moment in time. But people want hope. People want something different. They want a party, as Esther says, who believe what they say, who want to change people's lives, who want to improve, the personal circumstances for everybody. And the history of Labour rule is that you're not going to get that. You're going to get, essentially, you're going to be poorer. Your opportunities in life are going to be restricted. Your chances to be happy and prosperous and successful are limited for a variety of reasons. So I'm very proud that I think we've got the party now that has the vision, that has the determination, that is trying to change people's lives. One of the great myths of British politics is this idea that the Labour Party are some sort of moral organisation on a sort of crest of a wave to moralise us all. The party that wants to give working class people the best chances to thrive and succeed, the Conservative Party, and it always has been. And people now realise this, and that's why this is just that we can succeed. Where we are now is a base. There are seats around where I am in Bury where we are going to do better and better and better. And we've got the people, the MPs, and the support, and the organisations like Blue Beyond are really, really important to support us to get there. But it's a really positive future.
Fabulous. So we've heard a lot from the north. Let's hear Mr. Mercer from the south. What can we do to improve things and win back more of the south to kind of bolster the wonderful gains we've made up north?
Well, Rob, as you well know, I'm not really a huge fan of people from the north, but having having more of them in Parliament. I mean, Parliament's been like an old people's home for years, right? It's the smell of wheat, and now I think we need to install a few more showers. But on a serious point, look, I've never really understood this you know, for me, the Conservative Party is very clearly the party of working people. I mean, I don't come from a political background. I simply wanted to go to a party that reflected the ethos and values that matter to me. And those are the ethos and values of a sort of modern Britain, in my view. And that's very clearly with the Conservative Party. I think we do, you know, we need to continue going on a journey, right? But you've got to understand Brexit, okay, it's important, right? But it's not the defining issue for a lot of people who want to be involved in politics. And we've got to give people something to vote for. I think, you know, Labour's been in the doldrums for a long time, and now they've got Keir in there. I think they're going to think, you know, this is a chance to sort of reheat Blair and try and win back places up north. We need to, you know, like Esther said, just focus on the stuff that's got us this far. You know, life chances, the poverty stuff that I try and go on. You know, the single biggest factor that affects life chances in Plymouth is having a job. And since 2010, unemployment's gone down 52%. Universal credit is a huge success story for this party of this government, but we are just crap at talking about it. We feel awkward, or we get the wrong people talking about it. I think we've got a really bright future, but we do have to, you know, it's not going to land on our lap.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And look, James cleverly has brought his dog into the picture. Just because Johnny was talking, James has decided that he had to be cute as well and get everything in there. So Johnny's picked up the pace and decided that he'll have a beer. But what's wrong with you guys? This is terrible.
James, why do you do this to me? You know, there's a million jokes in this picture that I can't say.
It's like a bunch of children. I thought I was getting professional senior party grandees on this thing.
I don't know. It reminds me of the time I asked James who he'd snug marry and avoid from the party. That was quite an enlightening response from a few party conferences ago.
This is bizarre. Look,
I know. You don't want to know what I said about Johnny, actually.
I remember very well.
Johnny, put your legs away. Put your legs away. What are you doing?
The shorts.
Whatever.
I remember what you said about me, and I wasn't even there to come back at you.
So look, before this descends into complete chaos, a couple of people have mentioned the wonderful Sir Keir Starmer, the man of the people and all of that sort of stuff. So how do we think he's doing in his first couple of weeks in the job? And do we feel like he's much more of a threat than Corbyn was? And are we worried that he's got it and it didn't go to any of the others? And let's begin with, let's begin with Andy Carter up in Warrington.
I think the really interesting metric for measuring Sir Keir is what are they actually doing? What are they actually contributing to the debate? And the answer at the moment, I don't think is very much at all. I look around, and this links into how hard we're working to retain our seats. I look around at the contribution of Labour at the moment, and I can't see them doing anything. I can't see them supporting their communities in the way that they really should be. And I think that will be the true measure of the performance of Labour. Does Sir Keir Starmer really represent working man in the north of England? And the answer is absolutely not. He's a metropolitan millionaire barrister who happens to also be a Knight of the Realm. He's not really in touch with the people that I talk to in Warrington, who tell me that that Brexit view that he took is absolutely not where they are. I'm slightly disappointed it wasn't Rebecca Long-Bailey, because I felt that she really would have offered a tremendous amount to the Conservative Party. But we'll accept Keir.
Fabulous. Esther, how's Keir doing?
Well, look, it wasn't possible that he could have been worse than Jeremy, is it? So he's obviously going to be an improvement on Jeremy, and he'll be better in the chamber. He is a barrister, so he's going to be better and feel more at home there. I think what his problem will be, I think he hasn't got the charisma that Boris has got, and people need that. They want to see the energy. They want to see that you believe in what you're saying. I just think he'll be sort of smooth and very good on probably the floor of the House. And it is that vision. It is, what are you planning to do? There's no point having a job if you don't know what you're going to do with that job. And I think we need to point out the weaknesses. As Andy said there, they don't really seem to have a vision. They still seem to be in a bit of a dilemma. What are they going to do about jobs? Obviously, I was not only the Secretary of State in the Department of Work and Pensions, but I was there from 2011 right the way through that Parliament and the next one. When we took office, the number of households that didn't work under Labour had doubled. We had record youth unemployment under Labour. It was our party that turned that around. And I just don't see that they have that vision. We know every time Labour leaves office, unemployment's higher and they bust the economy. So we just keep having to point out where their failures are and their lack of vision. And I think police, looking at sort of sentencing and crime will be big key issues sort of going forward, as well as getting the country working again, after coronavirus. And I just think all the things that we bring to the table, it is for us to fulfill those and just point out all of Labour's weaknesses. But I just don't see, as Andy said, them having a vision.
Cracking. I completely agree. Colonel Cleverly, I thought I'd come to you as you were taking a mouth of your drink just to catch you on the hop.
Cheers, Rob.
Is he a good threat? Is he a bigger threat than before? Would you, if you were a Labour member and you wanted the best for the Labour Party, would you have voted for Sir Keir or somebody else?
I think out of the people that were candidates, I think Lisa Nandy had the best instinctive understanding of what has gone wrong for the Labour Party. And the fact that she's still involved at the top level of the party, I think means that there will be a voice pushing the Labour Party to understand better why they so dramatically lost the confidence of big swathes of Britain, particularly their traditional supporters. As Esther's saying, you would have to be some kind of evil genius to be less effective than Jeremy Corbyn. So Keir Starmer is a bigger threat than Corbyn was. Look, he's a smart guy. He's very eloquent. He's got a very powerful mandate from the Labour Party. So to underestimate him would be a massive error. So we have to take him seriously and we have to fight hard. But ultimately, I don't think he really instinctively understands what went wrong for Labour. He might make life harder for us in London and the home counties, but I don't think he's really got the offer to win back those blue wall seats that we picked up in 2019. And the other problem he's got is that he is going to have to fight the Corbyn faction within the Labour Party. So he's got an internal battle as well as an external battle. So if we maintain our discipline as a party and stay focused on delivering good government for the British people, getting through coronavirus and then beyond, and delivering for the British people, I think we're in a very, very good place to build on the success we had in 2019. But we're going to have to work hard. Cannot get cocky. We cannot be lazy. We've got to work hard, and I think that's a really good thing.
Completely agree. Fabulous. I tell you what, we're getting through these questions. It's a good thing. Let's move on to another kind of interesting topic. And as much as it scares me to do so, we'll start with Johnny. Dead easy one, this one, Johnny. Who's your favourite opposition MP and why? Yeah.
There we go. Who's seriously?
Yeah.
I like Peter Carl. He's a good bloke. I'll go drinking with Peter Carl. I think Jeremy Corbyn's the best thing that ever happened to the Tory party in the last 3 years, because we were so shit throughout that Brexit process. And if we'd have been if we'd have been out of power and given power in this country to Jeremy Corbyn, which we very nearly did, I don't think we'd be forgiven for a generation. So I mean, I think Corbyn's a legend.
Hey, look, everyone on the screen is nodding their head at the same time. Guy, who's your favourite opposition MP?
So I'm going to be a little bit radical, and I was lucky enough to be in the chamber when Hilary Benn wound up for the Labour Party in the Syria debate. And in the entirety of my 10 years in the House of Commons, it was without a doubt the finest speech given by a parliamentarian. He picked up the Labour Party, and who were clearly utterly split on this. He made a patriotic, Attlee-like appeal to their pro-NATO approach to why it was they should be supporting the government on this, and why it was echoed with their values. And I think we talk about Keir and we talk about how shit Corbyn was, and everyone agrees he was utterly shit and a complete godsend to us. I did a couple of debates as a backbencher in 2011 with him, and it was just a sight to behold. It really was. The man was batshit. But Hillary, best speaker I saw in the House of Commons in the 10 years that I've been there. There's lots of mates that we've all got who we have beers with. The interesting thing is, we can't say publicly who we have a beer with because Momentum will just annihilate that MP. It's really, really difficult for the Labour MP if we pop up and say, I have a beer with these people. I play in the House of Commons football team, and I am very, very slow and very fat and not very good. And everybody else in the House of Commons football team is Labour.
Guy, did you say it was the best speech in the last 10 years?
Shots fired.
You know, I won Best Speech of the Year in 2015 at Spectator Awards, don't you?
Yeah, I do. I was there. I listened to your maiden speech. It was all right, mate. I mean, hey, you were good.
You've changed. You've changed.
I have changed, but other people were better. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's not good news. Look, we'll move on to the next one. As a new MP, this will interest some of the young guys. As a new MP, we'll start with Esther. When you went in, what was the most daunting thing about going into the chamber for the first time? What was it that kind of thought, shit, I've arrived?
I think the most daunting time as a new MP is definitely at PMQs, because the chamber is full and you can feel the energy and everybody in there, and the thought that you might possibly have a question at PMQs and everybody is going to stop and listen to what you have to say. I think that is daunting, and it really is an unforgiving place. You know, if you forget your words, you don't get something right, and you have this nightmare that everybody's going to burst out laughing at you or something. So I think it's PMQs. Yeah,
completely agree. James Daly, your most daunting moment must have been quite recently, because you've not been there for very long. So what was it? What was it that has caught you on the hop the most?
Rob, there's too many of those to list. I will be here all day in terms of the cock-ups. But being an MP is the best gig in the world. If you're given the opportunity to try and go out there and help people and stand up for people and change the world and, you know, make the world a better place, really, the cock-ups and and I've done some magnificent ones over the last few months, and nothing compared to what a fantastic experience it is. I mean, sitting on those green benches is something, but I think that just being there, I mean, I've just been on the crest of a wave. I mean, it's just the best thing ever, best professional thing ever, and I'm sure all my colleagues agree with that. And anything that means that you can improve the life of, like, these, behind me is the metropolis of Bury. This has given me the chance to help the metropolis of Bury and Bury Football Club, which I have put into every single question I've asked Rob in the House of Commons, no matter whether it's foreign affairs, Bury Football Club goes into that question. So I wouldn't have had the chance to do that otherwise, but honestly, there's no downside to it whatsoever.
Loving it. I completely agree. Fletch, the lovely Catherine Fletcher.
This is, I'm going to have a rash moments of honesty. For me, it was the first time I spoke on, in any variety on the green benches, and I stood up and I was asking a question, and I got about 15 seconds into it, and the voice on this shoulder was saying, "Oh, well done, you're speaking to the House of Commons," and the voice on this shoulder was going, "You complete fraud! You're from flipping Wythenshawe. What are you doing with your mouth open on the floor of the House of Commons?" And I kind of finished the question, and I didn't so much sit down as kind of manage the collapse of my knees. And one of the now government ministers a couple of rows back said, "Yes, we did think we heard a massive thud. You didn't so much sit down as go boom." So that, for me, is the hardest thing. It's that first time you speak up for your community. I was just, honestly, the voices on my shoulders.
Right. And I don't know how you got through it without your interpreter on call. Don't know what was going
Okay, that's
on.
just appalling. That just, Schlepti don, Borida.
Borida indeed. Christian Wakeford, the most daunting moment.
There was a couple, and I'll be brief for the main three. First one was I am not a morning person in the slightest. So my 4:30 in the morning alarm clock to get the train down that Monday morning for the first day was not the best moment. But then you come out of the tube station and look up at Elizabeth Tower, and it's like, okay, I'm here. I'm in a better mood now. And then there was the Queen's speech, which is already a surreal moment. I was quite fortunate to be sat by one of the doors to the lobbies, so I got out quickly and was able to get into the House of Lords, about 4 or 5 people behind the speaker, and think, holy shit, this is a working class lad from East Lancashire in the House of Lords seeing the Queen speak. Couldn't hear her. I'm sure it was a very good speech, but that was obviously very surreal. And then my maiden speech, very similar to what Catherine was saying, I couldn't stop my leg from shaking. So I'd had no time to practice it, and there's just my leg going around, and everyone can see it who sat around me. But thankfully, the TV camera just basically had you from your waist above, so no one could see it at home. But everyone else around me was thinking, yeah, go for a drink after this. You need it.
You're jiving. You were jiving.
Yeah.
You were jiving. You were ace. It was brilliant.
Guy, I think Guy wanted to come in on this one. What do you want to say, Guy?
All of us will know the fear and terror of maiden speeches, which I don't care how confident you are. I gave my maiden speech in between Matt Hancock, and then was followed by Jacob Rees-Mogg, who spoke about Athelstan and Alfred, and I thought was utterly unintelligible. There we go. And the only thing I would say is, if you are lucky enough to be made a minister, your first appearance at the dispatch box as a minister is utterly petrifying. And my favourite story on this is Nigel Adams, who I was a whip at the time when he had to, gave his first speech. And he came up to me and he said in broad Yorkshire, he goes, "Blimey, that gets your sphincter going, doesn't it?"
Terrible. Right, I'll tell you what, we'll move on. We've got loads of questions to wrap through. An interesting, a kind of a technical one, right? And someone's asked that select committees are something that apparently politics A-level and early politics students struggle to grasp the point and principle of select committees. So I'll start with someone who's been on select committees, and then someone who's been grilled by select committees, and we can see what it's been like from either side. Lieutenant Colonel Cleverly, you've been on a select committee or two in your time, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I was on the International Trade Select Committee for a while, and I've been grilled as a minister by the DFID Select Committee, because I cover both DFID and the FCL in my current role. And select committees are one of those really important but very poorly understood bits of Parliament. It's the place where the really difficult questions get asked. So when you're, Guy is right. When you're first at the dispatch box and people are asking you questions, that is quite intimidating. But generally, what happens with those is someone asks you one question, and if you can, if you can be agile enough, you can half answer it, not answer it, answer the question that you think they should have asked rather than the one they actually did ask. And there's not a lot that they can do to come back at you. On a select committee, if you don't answer the question properly, they will come back and ask it again and again and again and again. And there have been, no one makes a career by being grilled by a select committee. No one ever comes out of a select committee meeting with their reputation enhanced. You survive a select committee hearing. There have been a couple of people, unfortunately Amber Rudd, whose career as a Secretary of State was brought to an end because of a select committee hearing. So they are really important. They are really intimidating. If you can avoid them, that is well worth. That's good. Good news. Avoiding select committee appearance is good news.
Okay. Wonderful insight. Esther, you were Secretary of State in DWP. You must have had your fair share of grillings by the select committee. What's it like to be on that side of the fence?
Yes, I was part of the key DWP team from 2010 to 15 when all of the big benefit changes were coming through, the new benefits were coming in, universal credit was started. So you're quite right. I was, before the select committee, I think more than any other minister, as well as being having debates in the House, probably more than any other minister and more than DWP, more than any other department. So I think the first thing is, do not underestimate how tough a select committee can be. You've got a selection of people, all with different views, all with different thoughts, all wanting to ask a different question. So it's not as if you are having a barrister or in a court of law where you've got just the one person asking you questions, and you can sometimes see where the thought process is going and you can gradually go down a path and know where that's going. This has got like a sort of fire gun. So you can have lots of different people asking you questions from different areas. And I think that adds to the complication. And sometimes the worst questions can come from the MPs who know the least about the subject, who can ask the most ridiculous question. So you can't ever give a trite reply or a funny reply as, oh, don't you know what's going on or anything. You really have to keep your wits about you. And another thing is they can go on for absolute hours. So you are in a hot seat, not just for half an hour, not just for an hour. I've had them going on for 2 hours, really quite intense. So really be prepared. You don't go in alone. You will have people from the department with you, maybe the permanent secretary, maybe the person who's, key policy or key director in the organisation as well. But be thoroughly prepared. They are daunting. And I think James was right there. You're lucky with a score draw. You've got to just make sure that you know what you're talking about. You hold the line, you answer the questions honestly, because they can come back afterwards. And if you haven't given the right information or you have got it wrong, they will hold you to account for that. Yeah, it is very close scrutiny of what you're up to.
Brilliant. Couldn't agree more. It's a lot more fun from my side of the fence, being on a couple of select committees, doing the asking rather than having to answer. That's for damn sure. I'll just mention very quickly we're over £900 now on our donations. So if we can get up to 1,000, I reckon Mercer will sing or something like that. So we should. Yeah, don't look confused.
As long as he doesn't take his clothes off.
Is that not good? All right, we probably won't do that.
You're singing again, Rob. It was impressive last time.
Let's see if we can get up to £1,000. That would be amazing for the charity that did so much work to save Guy's life. We've had some tweets in with a couple of kind of live questions. And I'll send this over to Johnny. What do you think we can do to win over younger voters who have tended to vote Labour more in the last few elections?
I think to get younger people to vote for us, we've got to give younger people something to vote for. And at times, my beloved Conservative Party can, I think, slightly narrow its message. I think I don't understand. I genuinely don't understand why people vote Labour, and I think the majority, certainly in community. I mean, Plymouth, for example. I think if you can go out and make the case, right, and actually have a conversation with people and go out and advocate and win. This is why it's so great to see so many new people who've come into the house, because they've actually gone and won something. They've added something to this organisation. If you can go and have that conversation, I've now got like a 13,000 majority in Plymouth, the biggest one anyone's ever had in Plymouth. This has been a Labour city. It's never been a Tory seat in Plymouth Moor View. And, you know, much as I'd love to think I was brilliant, the reality is completely different. Actually, we've got a really strong message around modern compassionate conservatism that most normal people want to vote for. But you've got to get out there. You've got to get your hands dirty. You've got to have the fight. And we've got to do things a bit differently. I think it's there to be won. And I've always thought that, you know, even I joined under Cameron, right? And that was the party I believed I was joining. We've been, you know, we are going through a number of iterations of that process. But I think fundamentally, if we want to be truly successful, we will get back to that modern compassionate conservatism that pretty much everybody can vote for. And that's the key to the future.
All right, former party chairman, how do we get those young voters who are more Labour focused historically?
I mean, Johnny makes a really good point. It is about having a genuine message. Young people have got a very well tuned bullshit detector. So if you do tokenistic stuff, you might kid them for a short while, but ultimately it will bite you on the arse. And we see that with the Labour Party and their promises around tuition fees. It was very gimmicky. It wasn't honest, and I think that cost them. Probably they weren't punished as much as they deserved, but it certainly cost them some votes. So Johnny's right. We do have to have a credible, meaningful message. But the Conservative Party should be the party of hope and aspiration. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. With a party that I think naturally understands the desire that people have to look after their family, their community, as well as themselves. And I think that message is, if it's properly delivered and delivered with integrity, I think that is just as exciting and compelling a message to people in their 20s and 30s as it is to people in their 50s and 60s and 70s. So I do think that we should avoid gimmicks. We should be gutsy enough to reach out, as you're doing, reach out to younger voters. But ultimately, we got to be honest and have a good plan.
Absolutely. One of the key words that I've always used, and I use especially with the Blue Beyond crowd, is a word of empowerment, right? And the reason that I got involved with politics and into being a conservative especially is all about empowering people to give them the tools to make better choices so that we can drive the message up that way. So let's move on a slightly different topic, and we'll start with James Daly. This will be an interesting one. There's lots of high up, party grandees on our call. Very blessed to have them, and it's very kind of them to give up their time. If you could hold any job, any kind of portfolio in Parliament or in Cabinet, what would you want to do?
As you know, Rob, I just want to be the MP for Bury North.
Good
answer. That is it for me. Apart from that and Prime Minister, there's nothing in between that I'm, that is it. So I would like to be Minister for the, can you have a Minister for Bury? I mean, Christian might be tough competition for this, but
we should have a Minister for the North. Yes,
I'm more than happy to delegate the market to James. It's fine.
Look, we're close to £1,000, guys. We're up just over £950 now. So keep those donations coming in. Where have we got? To Catherine Fletcher. What do you want job-wise in Parliament? If you could hold a particular portfolio, what would you want to do?
Honestly, I don't know. how do I struggle to explain this, right? In the 1980s, I was playing in derelict tower blocks full of needles in the middle of an AIDS crisis. I am just super proud to be an MP. That's full stop. You know, I would never want to do anything if it wasn't being useful. That's it. I just want to be useful. I want to be useful to the north of England. I want to be useful to South Ribble. I want to be useful to the country. I'm very happy to say on the record, I have no intention of being Prime Minister whatsoever. I'm not good enough.
Never say that.
Not true.
No, I don't want to do it.
Not true.
I don't want to do it. Honestly, and everyone thinks, oh, she's a politician, she's lying. Like, I promise, look, my fingers are not crossed. I do not want to be Prime Minister.
I mean, as someone who's known Catherine for quite a few years, yeah, I think she's absolutely, portrayed herself very well there.
Thanks,
no,
mate.
You see, I share an office with Catherine. I think that's frankly not true. She's very, very good. We have regular sort of debriefs together where we can chew through things together. And actually, the one thing that Catherine is honest. And what she's just said there actually is exactly what she says in private as well. But actually, she's incredibly talented, and I think will be a massive, massive asset to the government at some point in the future.
Rob,
Go on, James.
I was just going to say that if politics is about putting people in power who can speak to people, who people like, who that power will be able to explain things in and get to get people to go along with you no matter what your background, then Fletcher's the one. She is honestly in terms
right,
of
okay, boys.
Stop,
boys.
She's the one, I can tell you.
I haven't put the stamps on the tenors that I've put in the post. So you're saying it before I've paid you. Shush. Just wait for
the
the
tenor. I'm wanting a pint in Strangers when it's back open.
Oh, yeah, that's done. Yeah, you can have a pint. Yeah, pint, no problems at all. You're very nice. I think you might be a bit wrong.
Minister for Pensions, Guy Opperman. You could hold any portfolio you want. What do you want?
So my favourite story on this point, and obviously I'd love to be Catherine's Chancellor. That's really kind of her. But my favourite story on this is I came in on the tube about 3 years ago, and there was this woman there dressed in this really beautiful summery dress. And I thought, oh, that's a really pretty dress. And then she turned around and it was Tracy Crouch. And I said, hi, Tracy, how are you? And she said, I'm good. And she said, how are you? And I said, well, I've got a really tough day today. I'm doing my third in 6 months debate on WASPy and really looking forward to it. It's a bit of a tin hat day, very tricky. I said, what are you doing, Tracy? And she said, well, as Minister of Sport, I'm spending the day at Wimbledon. So all I can say is if you want the easy gig, the Ministry for Fun is whether you're Minister for Sport or Minister for Music and Culture is the place to be. If you want the heavy lifting, come to DWP, Health, Home Office, where the real hard yards are done.
What if you want to have jollies around the world? What would be the place for that?
You'd be James Cleverly every day.
Oh, no, I didn't set that up at all. Who knew that would happen?
But I'm worried that Cleverly is winning or having a really vain attempt at trying to win Bookcase of the Year award. But Andy Carter, I think, is probably going to take him at the end.
I know I've not been formally invited, but Guy has thrown down the gauntlet. I genuinely feel that I am genuinely living the dream. For me and Johnny, this Friday is the day we found out that we became MPs. So the election 5 years ago was on the Thursday, but the results came in on the Friday. So today is my 5th anniversary. If someone had said to me just before my declaration, they said, "Look, James, you get to be an MP, which is amazing. You've worked really, loads of people would give their right arm to be that. You get to be an MP in the Conservative Party whilst in government, so you can actually get stuff done. That would be an extra bonus." And if someone said, you get to be party chairman during a general election where you win, and you get to be a minister in DFID in the Foreign Office. If someone said to me, "That's it, that is it, that is all you can hope out of your parliamentary career," that would just be beyond my wildest expectations. So becoming an MP was amazing, and frankly, for me, everything else is gravy. It is amazing, and I do feel massively, massively privileged. And the day that you stop being thankful and grateful to have the opportunity to serve your community and your country, that's the time when you really ought to pack your bag and fuck off, because it is an amazing, huge, enormous privilege.
Couldn't agree more. Quite like that. And we'll finish that bit on this. Look, we've only got 5 minutes to go because the Queen's speech is coming up in 10 minutes, and we need to all be ready to hear that. I'm not going to ask Johnny what portfolio he'd want, because he's already a minister, and quite frankly, punching above his fucking weight already. So we'll oh, don't look like that.
Oh, my screen's frozen. I'm going to press stop.
Johnny, you'll get in the cabinet. Don't worry, it'll be okay. Look, we'll run through really quickly. Really important topic, this, and I just need a one or two word answer from you, and I'll go through everyone really quickly. 1 or 2 word answer. We'll start with Christian. The answer is either roast dinner or fish and chips. Christian, roast dinner or fish and chips?
Fish and chips.
Guy?
Roast dinner.
Andy?
You don't get built like this unless you say both.
Oh, good work. James Daly?
Chips and mushy peas.
Yeah, you can't do that. Esther, roast dinner or fish and chips?
Roast dinner.
Right. Johnny?
Don't eat that shit.
Oh, fight and talk.
Dear me. Colonel Cleverley?
Roast chicken.
Roast chicken, that'll do. Fletch?
Yeah, fish chips and mushy peas.
Fish chips and mushy peas. Oh, look at that. It's 4 each. I'll have the casting vote then. Fish and chips wins. Same subject. It's so much more important. We'll start again. Christian Wakeford, Churchill or Thatcher?
Can we have a weird kind of hybrid love child of both? Boris.
Boris, Guy, Churchill or Thatcher?
I think, Christian, that's what we call in the trade in the whips office is give me a job, please. So Churchill every day.
Andy?
Churchill.
James Daly?
Churchill.
Churchill's winning. It's a landslide. Esther?
Thatcher.
Johnny, you're muted again.
Churchill.
Colonel?
I think it's got to be Churchill, but Thatcher very, 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 very close second.
Fletch?
First bird to be a prime minister, you got to go with Thatcher.
There you go.
Thank you.
Churchill takes it 6-2. Loving that. Right.
Oh, look at the ratios. I don't know where that's come from.
Only a couple of minutes left. We've got lots of young people on the call. Before I do that, actually, Nicola Richards needs a mention. Apparently, she's going mental. She's sending everyone messages. Wanted to mention that Nicola Richards, the MP for West Bromwich East, apparently is the coolest MP in our party, according to her, which, is obviously the way to go.
I demand a recount.
Yeah, it's all good. So, look, we've got a couple of minutes to go. I just need the most impactful bit of advice, the best kind of top tip you can give to these young Conservatives on the call, in terms of, how to make the most of their life. Mine would always be generally be true to yourself. Make sure you stick true to your own feelings and make sure you follow whatever it is that you want in life and really drive and push through towards it. Esther, top tip for people?
Say yes before you say no. In other words, just get on and do something and don't be put off by fear or the unknown. Say yes before you say no.
I like that. It's one of my favourite things. I always say to people, the answer's yes. What's the question? It's absolutely the way to go. Johnny, top tip for people?
I finally found my Commons Office key.
Use any implements available to open alcohol.
Look, I would slightly go against Esther's advice, which is very, very good, and from a much more intelligent person. But in the military, we're always taught, like, just do not volunteer for anything. Because they'll go, 3 volunteers, and they'll be like, you'll be like, yeah, I'll do it. And then next thing you know, you're burning shit, you know. So it's, I think the best piece of advice would be just be yourself. I mean, like, there's no, like, everyone will give you advice. My advice is don't listen to any of it and be yourself.
There you go. James Daly, top tip.
Never ever give up.
Look at that. Simple as that. Couldn't agree more with that one. Mr. Cleverly, top tip.
There's absolutely nothing wrong with ambition. In fact, it's really important. But one of the things I would say to a lot of people getting involved in politics for the first time is be generous of spirit. Try and give before you take. Find a way to be useful for others before you ask them if they can help you get on. Because in my experience, the people who are really, really generous and really, really energetic are the ones that develop a cloud of people around them, helping them to get on. And this is a team sport. You cannot do this alone. So, you know, work with your friends and colleagues, and that's the best way of being successful, I think.
And the final word of the evening from the Minister for Pensions, Mr. Offerman. Top tip for all of the people who have been raising money for the charity in support of you this evening.
So obviously the first top tip is buy a decent flag. The second top tip, and serious point, is aspiration. Be all that you can be.
Look at that. And it's as simple as that. Look, I'd really want to thank all of the MPs who came on and helped us out. So there was Christian and Andy and Guy and Fletch earlier on who did the quiz, who did an amazing job. Esther and Johnny and James who came on.
How much do you get paid for tonight?
Well, I was just going to say, it's really interesting. So the donation thing is up to £960. And I thought for you 4 people who came and did the Q&A, all just chucked in a tenner. We'll get up to £1,000 and then we'll be good, right? So I'm going to send you the link to where you can donate. If you can throw a tenner in to get us up to £1,000, that would be wonderful. Thanks. Good idea, Johnny. Thank you. But all of the tweets and messages that I'm getting as we're going on say that everyone's had an amazing time. They're really, really grateful for your insights. Thank you all so much for taking the time. I appreciate how busy you all are, especially on BE Day. And in 3 minutes' time, the Queen is on. So we better go and listen to Her Majesty. And James can wave his massive flag and all will be well. So thank you all so much. And it was lovely to see you. And we'll take care soon.
Investir dans l'immobilier sans avoir besoin de passer par les banques et sans avoir besoin d'investir d'apport, est-ce que ça vous semble irréel? Et si je vous disais que vous pourriez aussi générer 2000 € de bénéfices par mois, et ça en 73 jours chrono, est-ce que ça vous paraîtrait davantage impossible? Eh bien, je vous comprends. Je vous comprends parce qu'il est difficile aujourd'hui de faire la part des choses sur les informations qu'on peut trouver sur Internet. Bonjour à tous, je m'appelle Jean Baudin, je suis investisseur dans l'immobilier depuis 7 ans, entrepreneur et notamment fondateur de...
So thank you so much, and let's watch the Queen now. Have a fantastic evening. Bye bye.